Women cheated on me in the past, not sure about the present. For obvious reasons, this is a throwaway account. I'm getting married in a few days, and you might say I'm having difficulty telling what's genuine and what's not. I don't know where else to turn to explain my problem. Over the course of my life, I've had 3 relationships with women. The 2 ladies, with the exception of my fiancée, cheated on me, destroyed my heart, and deceived me. I grew up in a medium-sized town, a college town of approximately 10 to 15,000 people. Growing up, I never had a close connection with my mother and father, nor with my siblings. I moved out and got my own apartment as soon as I finished from high school. I've always aspired to be self-sufficient, and I've always wanted to interact with other folks. Perhaps my stressful familial circumstances explains why I want a family more than anything else. But it's only been about a year or so that I've been psychologically stable enough to explore that idea. I graduated from college amid the Great Recession. I was aimless when I completed and worked 2 jobs. Everyone told me that if I wanted to have any kind of job, I needed a master's degree. So I worked shifts at a warehouse during the day and did gardening on the side. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays at night, I work on a graduate degree. I met a girl who was considerably older than me via other pupils. Let's give her the name Anna. Anna was a small half-American / half-Thai woman who enjoyed classical dance and art history. At the time, I was 23 and she was about to become 30. She enjoyed everything that I liked. We bumped into one another on school a couple of times, as well as in pubs where we would converse and sometimes smoke pot out in the country while listening to music. I expected our connection would be purely platonic. I mean, she looked stunning, and I'm just a normal-looking man. Looking back, it appears naive, but 30 was smart at the time. That individuals in their 30s had the answers to key issues. Our friendship evolved into a love connection over the course of many months. I had always been in love with her, and I believe I had persuaded her to fall in love with me as well. Anna had a kid, let's call her Aaron, who was 5 years old when I began dating her. Her biological father had left the family and relocated. So her early ideas about family reminded me of mine, or I could identify to her. I made it my mission to be as near to a father as possible. I wanted a family, and I wanted Anna and Aaron to be a part of it. And for almost 2 years, it was like a family. I got into a habit of going to work, coming home for lunch, and then coming home from supper. I play with Aaron, read her stories, and try my best. I suppose I was a lot more conventional than I realized. I told Anna it was okay if she remained at home and that I could work my 2 jobs while finishing school. We would sometimes plan our futures and the nice things that would come in bed. Maybe I'm romanticizing it, but I remember those years and those memories as years of joy. Anna and I still drink, smoke, and have a good time together. We had conflicts and disagreements, just like any other marriage, and we had good and terrible days. So as I already said, my life was excellent. And then there was Evan, my neighbor across the street, who came in and out of our home since we had an open-door policy. We kept some joints packed up in an old cigar box, so Evan could simply come in and help himself whenever he felt like it. And Anna and I had an open invitation to his house. If we wanted wine or peanut butter, we could just stroll over there and get some. So one day during my lunch break, I received a text from Evan saying he was about to open the front door when he saw Anna and one of my best friends kissing. Evan said that they did not notice him. Let's call him John, since he was the person she was kissing. John was small and not very handsome, but he hailed from an affluent family and was about to complete his medical degree. He didn't reside in town, but rather in a much bigger metropolis around 2 hours away. I'm not sure whether he was lonely or didn't make any acquaintances in the city, but he appeared to love going into town once or twice a month. So I contacted John and asked whether he was going to drive home this weekend. I am, he said, but it won't be until later this evening. I phoned Anna and asked if she would mind cooking something for us all to eat that evening, and then I casually remarked, "Oh, did you know that John's coming in tonight?" She pretended to be astonished, as if she didn't know. I was about an hour away now, and it was common for me to not get home until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I informed the warehouse supervisor that I needed to depart early due to a family emergency. On the way home, I weighed the possibility that Evan, who isn't the most dependable or sober guy I know, had made an honest mistake. Then I texted, "Is there another vehicle in the driveway besides Anna's?" I described the appearance of John's automobile. Actually, Evan texted me back that no, Anna's vehicle is the only one in the driveway. I was scared at first, but as I got closer to the home, I laughed, Thinking Evan must have been high or maybe seen something, I receive a call from Evan around 7 miles away, and he informs me that the automobile type and model I described was parked on the opposite side of the street, which Evan would have spotted from the angle of his front yard. I emailed John and Anna that I could be running late this evening and that they should start supper without me if I don't return before dark. "Yeah, I'll probably be getting in just a little bit before you," John replied back. Anna responded via text, saying, "That's fantastic, I'm just tidying up the home." Evan and I approached from behind. When I opened the door, the two of them bolted. Everyone was yelling. I attempted to hit John, but I missed. He clocked me, and I went down after hitting my head on the wall. Evan pursued John and brutally beat him up in my driveway. Soon after, the cops arrived and arrested Evan. I felt awful since. I didn't have the funds to bail him out at the time, so I apologized to him the following day. "Don't worry about it," he said. It came out that John and Anna had been messaging and contacting each other while I was at work for many months. I assumed she believed he was a better long-term bet, monetarily speaking. We split up. We both relocated. She moved in with John, and I believe their relationship lasted just a few months. It probably took me a year to really recover from the betrayal, lying, and dishonesty. I eventually returned to my hometown and began dating Alex, a girl I'd known since high school. In actuality, I was far more in love with her than she was with me. We dated for approximately 2 years before moving in together for about a year. She eventually received a job offer in Colorado. She'd be earning almost twice as much as she was where we lived. In any case, Alex broke the connection by claiming, "I don't believe our relationship is viable with us living so far apart." I told her I may be able to find work there, but she said no since she wanted to start again. You recall Evan from earlier. The man I trusted and believed was a close friend. Well, around a year ago, I discovered a lot about him. I ran across a common friend, the man who used to sell pot to Evan and me while drinking at a pub. The anecdote of Evan being arrested came up at some point throughout the talk, and we had a nice chuckle over it. I said something encouraging. Evan, on the other hand, was a wonderful person. When I informed him I couldn't pay the bail because I didn't have the money, he didn't even protest. And the guy gave me a strange look, saying, "Man, I knew you detest Evan since he banged both Anna and Alex." Evan had apparently been sleeping with Anna even before John, according to none of my close friends or anybody else. And the reason he assaulted John that night and wasn't furious that I couldn't bail him out was because Anna and John started dating, and I stopped sleeping with Evan. As a result, it had nothing to do with his being a close friend or even like me. And it came out that once Alex relocated to Colorado, she continued to date someone from our hometown, who turned out to be Evan. In reality, she had been sleeping with Evan while we were dating. It took me months to put all of this material together. Before my fiancé, the only 2 women I thought I'd ever loved had lied to me and cheated on me. Worse, everyone around me was aware of this except for me. I can't tell you how embarrassing and damaging this was to my mental health. So, you may be wondering, what does this have to do with your upcoming wedding in a few days? So, fast forward to today. Who do I see at the wedding rehearsal dinner? Evan. He arrived with my fiancé's co-worker's pal. She turns out to know Evan. They all work at the same bank. However, my wife and Evan are at different branches that are roughly 30 miles away. Maybe this seems paranoid, but I know what you're thinking. Is it crazy for me to suspect that my fiancé may have slept with Evan? I know that seems ridiculous, but Evan has slept with every meaningful relationship I've had in the previous 15 years, except this one. I don't believe he realizes I know about Anna and Alex. Plus, he didn't behave strange around me. And it was great to speak to him in some ways, and I don't really care about stuff that occurred years ago. And even though there is no link between him and my fiancé other than the fact that he is dating her friend, and they both work for the same regional bank, there's a part of me that believes he will or has slept with her. To be clear, I don't have any proof of this. In reality, I doubt she would or has, but I think I'm scarred by the past and can't get that thought out of my head. As you might guess, I can't tell anybody about my hidden dread since it seems stupid. Right now, I'm telling myself that it's all in my imagination and I'm worried about the wedding, as well as the possibility that Evan slept with my fiancé, which would be too much for me to take. But in the past, the universe in which I believed crumbled under the weight of its own truth. Anyway, part of this was simply the act of writing, and it's been therapeutic to get it all out there. I simply have a lot of problems from the past with love and betrayal. I realize this isn't a common occurrence, but but I'm sure there are others who have been deceived on several occasions who might offer me some insight into whether I'm exaggerating coincidences or not. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to read this and for any advice you can offer me. Update. Wow, I was blown away by the outpouring of love this morning. I wasn't expecting that many responses. To be honest, I didn't expect to see any remarks. Thank you really lot. I'm going to inform my fiancé about this history later tonight. I believe I was overthinking things and getting a bit worried. You folks truly swayed my opinion. Final thought, if anything goes wrong, I pledge to return and update this page. Hopefully, everything will go well, and I will be able to marry the woman I love without having to relive the past. Thank you once again to everyone here. It was quite beneficial to me. It means a lot to me.